Welcome to the webinar, How Data and APIs are Changing the C-Store Industry. And I would like to first introduce you to our two presenters. The first one is Corey. Thank you, Corey, for joining us today. Corey is a marketing director for E.J. Pope and Son, and they had a variety of divisions, and one of them happens to be Handy Mart convenience stores, which has about 38 locations. So, Corey, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Corey Robinson. I oversee the marketing for E.J. Pope and Son Handy Mart convenience stores. A little bit about us: we're in Eastern North Carolina. We are a regional player. We are always about improving efficiencies and technology to delight our customers. We try to be cutting edge, but not bleeding edge. So that's why we're getting into the APIs. Other types of recent technologies have been food ordering kiosks, digital screens inside, doing digital outside, the mobile apps. We use an API already for our mobile app to do fuel pricing. Obviously, Power BI and any kind of cool BI AI technology is what we really are jumping into right now. So a little bit about us.
Thank you, Corey.
My pleasure.
And then Vladimir is our other presenter for today. And Vladimir has a long history with Petrosoft. He was actually employee number 1. He's currently in a business development role, but he's done years of implementation, both back office and POS, both domestically and globally. And so, Vladimir, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Vladimir, and I'm spearheading the development department for Petrosoft, business development department for Petrosoft, a company that's based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now, over a decade, Petrosoft provides a true client-centric, data-driven, turnkey retail operations solution. Through my 15 years at Petrosoft, I was involved in all aspects of customer deployment and customer integration. In the past 8 years, I was heavily participating in Connexa standards in North America. As far as the deployments and different type of proof of concept, I was part of the global deployment of the 200 locations in the Philippines, Manila, Philippines. So any type of data exchange or adaptation integration was all of the challenges that I was working through in my experience here in Petrosoft. And that's what we're going to talk about. Melanie, passing it back to you.
Okay, first we wanted to tell a little story or go over, kind of the background or history. People have been talking about data for a long time. This story is around the quote from 2006, "Data is the new oil," which has been repeated often. And the origin of this is actually from some consultants who went into Tesco in 1994, and their task was to look through a bunch of data from Tesco and see what they could get out of it. And the result was that Tesco's chairman was surprised and said they had figured out more about their customers and their short months versus their 30 years. And the idea behind data is the new oil is that data, without being refined, is as useless as oil that's just extracted straight from the ground without being refined. And that's kind of the topic of today's webinar. Not only what you have in terms of data, but also what you do with it and how APIs can help out. So Vladimir, I will turn it back to you.
With you more. And with that said, I want to go to the next slide and talk a little bit about rise of API economy. All right, and usually when we talk about data, something that comes to our mind is how do we interchange it, how do we extract it, how do we refine this crude oil that we collect, right? And previously, application programming interface APIs have been elevated from the development technique to now a business model driver and a boardroom discussion rooms. And in our terms, if we talk about specifically our industry, retailers and their core assets, sales transactions, in the form of sales transactions, let's just use it as an example, could be reused, shared, and monetized through API that can extend the reach of existing services and or provide new revenue streams. And this is something that if we look in our industry right now, scan data Scan data allows for any type of retailer to finally not only collect the incentive, right, or I'm sorry, create a transaction right at the brick and mortar, but also deliver a new revenue from the happened or past due transaction, meaning their sales data. Not only the retailers will expect that type of functionality, but also service companies should be managing their APIs like a product. And its benefit should be completely, and its architecture should be completely decoupled from complex systems. Successful API should focus on delivering the benefit to the retailers and our consumers right away. Otherwise, we will see the less and less adaptation of any type of function that would be deployed using the API methodology. And one of the good examples that we're going to discuss further on is API from Altria. Altria is turning its API focus to resolve challenges like adaptation of a new and maturing retailers, helping them from profiting right from the day number one. Now, with that said, what's overall APIs, its adaptation, and its impact? As we see through the years, the API trend only grows through our industry and as well as through the other. We see more and more adaptation and larger amount of endpoints created that allows a larger amount of subscribers that are interested in sharing or collecting or enrichment of the particular data for the subscribers. To us, it keeps the lower cost of integration. It makes it easier to maintain because they're always available and delivers really fast deployment and integration solution. Now, but I guess what's really important is even though the technology is out there, we still see a number of data exchanges happening not through the API. And we believe that it's all in our hands. Our mission, and as business drivers, we should look at any type of new technology that we're adapting, and we need to make sure that API as a methodology becomes a business requirement, but not only the method for IT. This next graph talks about Gartner API hype cycle, and for this, I would like Melanie to give us a little introduction to explain it in the better terms. Melanie?
Sure. So I love these graphs personally. I do a lot of product marketing, and so I'm always looking for a little bit reality around technology that's out there and at what level of maturity it is in terms of being adopted. And Gartner is, I would say, the leading analyst firm in terms of IT and in terms of operational type of applications. And so what this is obviously speaking specifically about APIs and where we're at. And you can see that actually APIs are now in its mature stage. And what that really means is that it's being adopted. It's found its use. It's no longer that it can solve every problem. It's found very good and specific uses. And so this is another chart that basically reflects the previous chart because they're related, obviously, because the more people have these out there and the more applications, the more we find the reality and the usefulness of this type of technology.
All right.
Vladimir?
Thank you, Melanie. Next couple slides are going to focus a little bit about what's happening, and as a service provider, how do we see our focus, as well as I'm going to talk a little bit about, before the actual presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about how Petrosoft broke it down on the customer engagement side. So first, if we look at this API makes implementation easier, what it really says is it gives us an insight on where back office technologies and its expected functions are in the process of adaptation throughout the industry. So what we see here, there is a number of functions that came from the exploring and now in adaptation stage, like data mining, workforce management software. But what's expected from the back office technology and what's embedded is functions like loyalty solutions, price books software and product management, integrated POS systems, inventory management. All those have very high level of impact. Now, API still allows us to keep it on the moderate to the low implementation difficulty, as well as implementation involvement. And I guess if we look at it and we understand that this graph was posted by NACS, those integrated functions will be part of the checklist that retailer will have while they're going to be shopping for a new back office system or any type of integration system. That's going to be on the has to checklist. And it's in our hands to make sure that we embed this system in our backbone of the solution as an integration partner. Now, let's talk a little bit about customer engagement and how Petrosoft sees the solving for the first mile of the promotions. And I'm going to talk a little bit about an industry. So when we came out with scan data, customer, provider, manufacturer, everybody were focused on the last mile, concentrating on the reporting and building the incentive based on this particular milestone. Share the report, share the data, get the incentive, right, for the store. But if we, and that's very, I would say, a bit selfish, right? But when we look at the same system from the perspective of a retailer, challenges for small business operator would be much more than just creating a report. They would have to find time to spend to configure proper promotion, to configure or set up those promotions within the POS system or back office. And if retailer will not find support in doing those, the adaptation rate, as we see, will decrease. And one of the examples that we deployed recently is the adapting Altria API and our solution, as the API is actually focused not only on the last mile, but API efforts were focused on the first mile. That would helped us completely eliminated the time the user spends on creating those type of promotions, removes any type of the pricing issues or compliance errors. Now, with that alleviated, that to the retailer, that is seen to be a true example of a in-app one-click promotion acceptance that gives them not only fewer errors, but also better compliance. As we know, if there is a bad data in, there are never going to be a good data out. So the idea of focusing on the first mile will help the retailers or anybody who is adapting this solution at first to really be compliant from the day one. Now, let's take a look at how the solution flow works, right? Now, again, on the first, here's the first mile approach, and we call it a customer journey, and it's broken down in 3 separate graphics. The first graphic talks a little bit about all the heavy lifting that is happening behind. Utilizing Altria API, Petrosoft pulls all of the data automatically on demand for the particular opt-in retailer, alleviating him from doing all of this and connecting the accounts. Graph number 2 actually talks a little bit about automation. So all of the data is synchronized automatically. There is no imports or exports. There is no spreadsheets or USBs to be exchanged. All the data comes into the particular account automatically, and it goes into the pending status, with no additional efforts from the retailer. To the retailer, it all happens in the back. And what's important is the delivery method, because all of this happening in the cloud, but we still have to remember that we have to deliver it down to the POS system, down to the brick and mortar. And in the first mile promo automation, the last part is that we use agnostic delivery method. No matter what kind of the POS system you use, all of those promotions are automatically synced to the POS at the time. And all of those items are created in case they were not. So now keeping the retailer from the day one completely compliant to the criteria of the particular promotion, and obviously to incentive that would be applied once the sales data would be shared with the manufacturer platform. Now, I want to bring in the case of the, I guess, we brought in Melanie. I'm going to pass it on to you. Right?
Corey can talk now.
Really, this is us talking, right? But I think what's really important is to hear what early adopters, what companies that use this is experienced. Melanie?
Yeah, so I've spoken with Corey a few times now, and what we really wanted to find out is what he was doing before and what he was expecting from the solution, and actually got some great information from him, which is one of the reasons why he's on the call today. And so I'll pass it over to you, Corey, if you can just let us know, the pre and kind of post experience.
Okay, yeah. Big fan of APIs, and obviously, I'll give you the skinny for all of us here who price tobacco. We know it's a complicated challenge. We know that after we price it, we frequently go back and double check and triple check our numbers, and we still make errors from time to time. So our process in the past was we were using an Excel sheet, and we would just add columns for every buy down, and that's how we would track it. And then we'd manually enter into our price book. Generally, it took about half a day. Sometimes, depending on when the price changes hit and promotions hit, it could take a whole day. And then our process would be I would go behind our price book person and actually audit the promotions to make sure that they're all programmed correctly. In doing that, I think we probably had about a 99.5 roughly % accuracy rating. Our fails would be we'd miss, we'd have price groups and promo groups, but we would miss, one UPC would be in the wrong grouping or just wasn't included. So it was a struggle. I mean, it was a struggle, and we don't let everybody in our organization touch the cigarette pricing. There's only a limited amount of people that can do that. So we were able to get the API connection working, super easy. We implemented it last month, and I mean, we were done in a matter of like minutes. I mean, it took me a couple hours just to audit. Just to make sure everything was clean and crisp. But just being truthful, I mean, the API connection does a better job than that your person will do, because it's going to be more accurate down to the UPC, down to the site. So that's my 2 cents. Also, Altria is paying $250 a site. So being able to integrate into APIs, that made us another roughly $9 grand. Being able to do that, just throwing it out there as a financial incentive. First one obviously would be Altria's partnership into that. The second one is less errors, guys. Means less times where you're losing money because you're selling stuff wrong price. Third, the time savings. So we can reallocate our price book person to do other things other than sitting around punching in promotions all day long. So very, very smooth, easy transition to it. And I'd recommend it for anybody who wants to move forward.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
So so I'm going to actually turn this over to Vladimir. We didn't want to share EJ Pope's data, and so we're actually going to do a quick demo using our own. So our CEO happens to also own C-stores, which is why Petrosov exists, because he was looking for his own solutions, so he built them. So Vladimir is actually going to show you a quick demo on how this actually works in the real world with a back office system,
Awesome.
C-store office.
All right, and Corey, again,
thank
you very much. I know it was obviously it's great to hear that our efforts are accepted well, that you're getting incentive, and I get it's it's great. The good thing is that finally it's not only the service companies, now the whole industry. Altria is creating incentive to onboard. Altria is creating method to onboard. We have a means and we have the tools to make it happen. So this is where the industry is going now, and that's our expectations from the solutions that we have. It's on every one of us, right, to request that from their IT, from the business, to really see more and more things like this automate within the retail. Now, I want to showcase something, and I want to show you how that really works, because this is all our slides, and how it's supposed to work, but I actually want to show you how it works. For that, I'm going to be using a couple systems, and I believe you guys are still seeing my screen. Let me know if there is if something is not clear, or maybe it's not, you don't see it. So first part of the system that I'm going to be showing is going to be our back office system, and I'll give you an insight why I'm doing this. And the second part of the system is going to be, this is my cell phone. Now, give me just a minute. Here we go. All right, I'm going to make it like this. All right. Yep, that was all for past 1 hour.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right. So why I'm showing the two separate systems, right? Because as we know, there could be different structures, right? And I'm gonna show you the Retail 360. This is our application, right? And the goal of this system is to be consolidated place for account to opt in on everything. Whether you have 1 or 2 locations, well, I'm sorry, 1 or 100 locations, this is a place where, and overall, the owner or price book specialist or product manager will opt into the promotion. Now, the second part, the actual back office, I'm showing you for only one purpose, is to show you how it makes its way to the POS system and how transparent it is. And we're going to use as our example a station Carnegie. So this is, we call it Items Update Manager. Cash register, I always call it a cash register mirror for the particular site. And the way you read it is changes that are happening for that site are on the top, and they are in red or pink. And the existing state of the cash register is right there below. So you see that the register currently has 4,088 items, close to 882 in cigarettes, and so on and so forth, right? So once we're functional areas for this, again, this is on the go store owner that want to opt in and want to start taking an advantage of this. Items Update Manager is something that on the side of the brick and mortar. This is where your store manager would see the promotions coming from the head office or coming from the Altria, and make sure that as he opts into this into those promotions, he's validating that all promo displays are showing, that all prices are correct, because the last thing that you want, right, is one price to be on the shelf or one promotion, and then as we scan the products, you know, the price is completely different, especially when that's some sort of a promotion that earns you the points or gives the better discount. Now, the scenario that I'm going to be showing is I'm going to go through the process of looking at what is out there. What is out there from any manufacturers? What kind of different opportunities? And we're going to focus on looking through buy-down promotions, looking through mix and match promotions, loyalty, and kind of going through the process, how long it would take me to accept it and send it down to the store, right? So on the application, I see that I'm managing a couple sites, anywhere from Walnut, and we're going to go into the Carnegie site. Now, as I scroll down, there is a place called promotions. This is all offerings that is available from Altria, from any other manufacturer that is ready to incentivize data sharing or promotion or offer compliance to the site level. And let's take a look how long it would take us to accept it. So the first one is the two-pack $1 off that's coming from publisher for Helix Innovation. The discount type, it's buy 2 and get $1 off and get reimbursed per $2 from the manufacturer. So all we have to do is we have to slide and accept. Now that accepts the promotion and moves it into the further down the chain into the POS systems. And let's go through another one. Let's take a look at Marlboro I think black non-menthol, I would imagine. And this is how we would accept 2 promotions. What really happens here is if we refresh the cash register stage, we will see that 2 promotions are now ready to be pushed down to the POS system. And as we review those promotions, we can click through the promotion itself, and we will see that automatically all of those items, and let me know if you guys can see my screen, by the way, all of those items are automatically added to this particular promotion. And we see the price change with the threshold, and most important, transparency. We put on accounts receivable from Philip Morris USA 50 cents per every 2-pack sold. Now, accounting for this will allow us properly gauge the profit margins on those particular cigarettes, and making sure that we have all the tools that we have to not only provide the best price, but also in the back to collect from the retailer completely automatic. Now, and so let's take a look at the different one. Let's go through, I believe I opened it, so right here. So let's take a look at a different single can 2-pack. If you buy 2, let's take a look at that promotion, you get $1. Same thing here. And this is a place where, in case you really need to make changes, you want to alter something and you want to change, you have a complete way to accept it or deny it. Now, let's take a look at another example where it's a little bit on in the compliance conflict. So here we go. I believe I found it. I know that there is those buy down $1.35 for Marlboro per unit, right? But the condition was that the price shouldn't be more than, I believe max retail price was $9.50 or something similar to this. Now, before I'm going to accept this promotion, it tells me that there is 2 items that are priced incorrectly, and by me accepting it, being in a compliance, the system will automatically change prices for those items. So I'm going to go in and accept this promotion. Now, let's take a look at the cash register. And now we see that one more promotion is out there. And what also is interesting, we have a cigarette price change coming on board, where Marlboro, I think this is special blend, current retail was $15, but in order for us to stay current, it changes it to $9.50. So that allows us to be in compliance throughout not only the offer itself, but different variations where the maximum retail price should be below, in order for us to qualify further down the road to get the maximum incentive. Now, again, I'm going to go back into the app. Let's just hypothetically consider that I do not want to spend all this time in reviewing and understanding. I just simply don't have time for all of this. All you need to do, scroll up, press accept changes, and what's going to happen is all of the promotions are going to be automatically accepted and be ready for the pending of the cash register to be accepted. So let's take a look at this, and we have all of those 29 promotions for the period of 2021-11 ready for an upload. So now, this is the reason why I wanted to show you, and we were really particular how many clicks you need to have in order to make changes. This is an example how by utilizing the Altria API, you can be in compliance without any labor-intense tasks on your operations. And this is when we say one-click promotion acceptance, this is what we mean. Melanie?
Corey, do you have any comments?
Plus, we were just talking about it.
Corey.
He likes it. He likes it too. So.
Okay. Okay, very good. So that's the end of the demo. And if you can move forward, we just want to talk a little bit about the future, right, of APIs, or at least from Connexus' perspective, how this impacts. Yeah, can you just go to there we go. So this is from a slide from 2019 from one of the conferences that Connexus puts together, and Connexus being the standards group for, the C-store industry. And they do have standards that they're putting out related to APIs that tells you how mature this has become if it's hit our standards group. But these are where they see really the opportunities, of course, on the manufacturing side, but also on the wholesaler side. So there's a lot of different opportunities, and we'll see how it matures. We know who we have in the pipeline in terms of development, which are some of the, the logos on the screen. But anyway, so we do have a slide deck or a link to the slide deck to share if you're interested on more of the technical side and what's going on in the C-store industry related to that. This is actually the one previously is actually the link to the report. Can you go back to
this?
So this is, so the one thing that I wanted to highlight too, so NACS, for the first time ever, has put together this type of report related to technology. They went out and did a survey, and they really talked about the trends that were happening in the industry. And this was put out, I believe, about a month ago. And they have a new person kind of spearheading this, and it took them about 6 months to put this report together. So anyways, I think it's a good read, and so the link to that is also included as part of this presentation. And then, of course, if you want more information, you can always reach out to us at info@petrosoftinc.com at the beginning of this. So
Melanie,
anyways, thank you so much.
Guys.
Have a great day, guys.
Awesome.